Are you a registered nurse that's planning on taking your NCLEX-RN exam and are wondering how NCLEX-RN is actually graded? In today's video, we're going to break down how NCLEX-RN exam is actually graded, how your test results are actually determined, what affects your scores, and how the grading systems actually work. So without wasting any time, let's dive right in. Hello friends and family, my name is Karen. I'm a registered nurse in the United States for about 6 years now, and on this channel, I'm helping new and aspiring nurses on their journey to NCLEX-RN and how to pass their NCLEX-RN exam with flying colors. So the topic for today's video is how is the NCLEX-RN actually graded? So let's start with a quick review of what NCLEX-RN NGN actually is. The next generation NCLEX or NGN is the updated version of NCLEX-RN exam for licensing nurses in the USA. It assesses not only your knowledge but also your clinical judgment skills, your decision making, and your critical thinking skills. Now, one of the most important part of understanding the grading system is the NCLEX-RN still uses computer adaptive testing, just like the old NCLEX-RN exam. In this perspective, there is nothing that has changed. Both the previous NCLEX and the NCLEX-NGN both are using the same strategy to determine your results. However, there are a few new twists that affects how your performance is evaluated. Now we're gonna go step by step through the grading process so that you can have a better picture of how your test is actually graded. First of all, if you're familiar with the NCLEX-RN exam and are familiar with computerized adaptive testing, the method which NCLEX-RN uses to determine your results, you already know that CAT or computerized adaptive testing is used to tailor the exam to your level of knowledge. The NGN continues the same system, but now it's even more focused on assessing your clinical judgment. Now, what does that mean for grading? As you answer the questions correctly, the computer increases the difficulty level of the questions to assess your upper limits. If you answer incorrectly, the system will now give you a slightly easier question. It will do that to determine your baseline knowledge. Now, this process is carried out throughout your exam. But here's the most important thing. Unlike traditional exams, the NCLEX-NGN exam does not have a fixed amount of questions that you have to answer. Instead, it's graded through a statistical model called logistic regression model. This model is designed to evaluate your ability to answer questions that progressively gets harder. So, it's less about the amount of questions you answer correctly and more about the level of difficulty of the questions you successfully answer. Now, how does this affect your final scores? Let's talk about the passing standards in this segment. The NCLEX-RN NGN uses the same model or the same passing standard as the previous NCLEX-RN exam, which means you need to demonstrate a certain level of competence in order for the system to deem you passed. This is measured through your performance on a variety of questions. Now here's the key. You need to answer a certain number of questions correctly within a wide range of question formats to demonstrate that you have the necessary skills to practice safely as a nurse. Speaking of question formats, the NCLEX-RN NGN or the new generation NCLEX includes new types of questions that were not present in the previous NCLEX-RN exam. There are case studies, matrix questions, and even extended multiple choice questions. These new question types assesses your clinical judgment and your decision-making skills, which are an integral part to the grading process. Let's take a quick example. If you're given a case study with the patient scenario and are asked to prioritize a series of action, the test is looking at how well you make these decisions under pressure, or what kind of decisions you make under pressure. Grading in the NCLEX-RN exam is not just about getting the answer right, it's about the process and your rationale behind your answer. Another important grading factor is the minimum and maximum question limits. This exam can be as short as 75 questions and as long as 145 questions. But here comes the interesting part. Your performance will be continuously assessed throughout the exam. If you've demonstrated the required competency by answering most of the questions correctly or by answering enough questions correctly, this exam will stop at 75 questions. And if you're struggling, the test will still give you a chance and will go up to 145 questions to test you. Now you might be thinking, how does the computer know when to stop? Let me tell you, that is actually a great question. The exam uses something that's called a confidence interval. If your answers consistently reflect that you are performing at the required level and you pass the confidence threshold, the exam will end. But if the computer cannot determine that you're competent after answering a set of questions, it will continue to test you until it is confident in your ability to practice safely as a nurse. So, to summarize the grading process of the NGN or New Generation NCLEX-RN exam, number 1 is Computerized Adaptive Testing. It adjusts the difficulty of your questions based on how you're performing throughout the test. Number 2 is the exam uses a statistical method to assess if you're competent, and it does not depend on the number of correct answers. Number 3 is the NGN also includes new question types like clinical judgment and critical thinking. Number 3 is it also includes new question types to evaluate clinical judgment and critical thinking. Number 4 is your performance is evaluated against a minimum competency level, with the exam stopping when it's confident in your ability to practice safely as a nurse. Remember, the NCLEX-RN NGN is designed to assess whether you're ready to practice as a safe and effective nurse. If you've studied, practiced, and prepared for the clinical reasoning part, you will be in a great position to succeed. So don't stress too much on the grading part. It's all about your ability to demonstrate the skills you will be needing for the job. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this breakdown of how the NCLEX NGN is graded helps clear up any confusions that you had. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with any questions you have, or if there are any topics you want me to make a video on. I will make sure I get to that as soon as I can. Good luck with your NCLEX prep, and you got this. Thank you.